So we are going to be reviewing another classic horror film, my personal favorite in the A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. That's right, folks. It's the best, Dream Warriors. And so, of course, just a quick reminder, I am watching all of these films in a row as the opening salvo of the 50-part movie review horror marathon that I'm doing, watching one per day. And so if you'd like to watch with me, I will be watching A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 tonight. So if you want to watch that with me, and then I'll review it in the morning, that would be great. But anyway, this one is my personal favorite. I haven't seen all of these movies since I was a teenager, but this is the one that I've watched probably the most. I saw this one when I was young, and I've probably seen it like 4 or 5 times. I don't remember, but all I know is it's pretty much as good as I remember. One thing I really love about this film, by the way, the movie poster. I want to get all of these movie posters. They're all really just fucking great art. Also, there's a Max running around. I don't know if he's visible. He's dodging the cameras. But anyway, so one thing I love about this movie is that it brings back the main character from the first film. I love when franchises do that, when they like kind of dip into the same cast, right? Like the Final Destination movies do that too. And like I just find that interesting. Like the expert character who you saw like engage in like the horror, and then like however many years later they're now an expert. They go to help other people that are like the new main characters, right? It's just I like it. I'm a fan. And so the core kind of concept of this movie is like it's kind of like a mix of like taking like the shared dreaming consciousness. This is like, it's basically like this is the proto Inception. And so they have like shared dreaming, and then they have the ability to lucid dream, recognize that they're in the dream, and then they have the ability in this movie they try to train their abilities to in my dream I'm a wizard or whatever, in my dream I'm super strong, that kind of shit. And it's just like a cool ass concept. Like, again, I love how these movies fuck around with the dream world. I think the dream world is it's a fascinating concept. It's one of the coolest things about being a human, honestly, is the ability to dream. And so that's why I think A Nightmare on Elm Street, for me, it stands out among the more classic horror franchises. The super sequel franchises. We're talking about like, Friday the 13th. We're talking about like Halloween. We're talking about like Hellraiser, right? These horror movies that have like 9 trillion fucking sequels for no goddamn motherfucking reason. And you're going to watch them all, motherfucker, and you're going to like it. A Nightmare on Elm Street for me. Hellraiser also really stands out, but A Nightmare on Elm Street, I just love the dream stuff. I'm a huge fan of the dreaming. I just think it's super cool. I love it. I think it's great. And this one for me, when I watched this movie as a kid, for me, it really kind of like got my huge interest in lucid dreaming started, which is something I talk about very frequently on my show. This, among some other things, but, I just love the idea of like you have a nightmare, so you train yourself to become a lucid dreamer, recognize when you're in a nightmare, and then you don't give the nightmare that much power and energy, or you try to overpower it with your dream energy. It's just super cool. Anyway, the thing I love about this movie also is that it takes place in like a kind of like a pseudo insane asylum kind of thing. And this movie, I think it was released in 87, I want to say, but just seeing how like mental health facilities treat people that are suicidal, right? Like, I don't know if this is indicative of the 1980s. I wasn't alive in the 1980s. But like, they really, so people, the kids go to this mental health facility because like they've tried to commit suicide, some of them, or some of them they can't sleep, similarly, like it starts in like like the first 2 movies, right? The characters can't sleep, and then like it starts to develop that kind of thing. These movies is like it does develop, and they do end up in this mental health facility, and then we start the story in the middle as they all meet each other and stuff. But again, the staff are just so brutal. Like, like the main doctor, before he becomes a good guy, is just like such a pushover, like, rude bully, right? And lets the superintendents or whatever, like the people in charge, just bully the shit out of these kids for no reason. You got the stupid fucking bitch nurse who's just like, you know, like harassing them, giving them drugs without their consent, you know, like forcing them to go to sleep. It's just, you know, and then there's like the cool guy. There's Lawrence Fishburne plays like the cool guy. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm your boss. I can tell you what to do, but I'm the cool guy. You know, if you want to stay up and watch TV, feel free to do so. And then, you know, the bitch fucking... I love the deaths in this movie. Like, when the bitch, like, just, like, kind of pseudo-hangs herself with her face in the fucking television screen. You know? That shit was great. I love at the end, too, during, like, the lucid dreaming segment where they're, like, doing the final war against Freddy. And that, like, a lot of them get stabbed and die. Like, the guy, like, the one kid who's, like, you know, he broke his legs in a suicide attempt, but in his dream he can walk. And he's also a wizard in his dream. So he tries to use some, like, D&D magic on Freddy. And then Freddy's like, whoa! Right? And one of the things I love about these movies is how Freddy Krueger will always, like, pretend to, like, be getting fucked up. You know? Whoa! Right? He'll like, play along. And then, like... Then it, like, you know, just to make them think that they won. And then he's like, just kidding, motherfucker. And then he kills the motherfucker. So anyway, he grabs that wizard. The stupid-ass D&D nerd gets grabbed by the fucking throat and slashed and stabbed. And their heart just fucking, you know, pops from the fucking knife nails or whatever thing going on. But anyway, one of my favorite parts in this movie is when there's a mute kid who's, like, strapped to a table. I don't think, by the way, I think this is the first A Nightmare on Elm Street where there's visible nudity. And they do it in, like, a really strange way where, like, a teenager, I don't know how old they are, but I presume that they're in, like, the 15, 16 range. I don't know. Like, in their dream, like, a nurse, like, who has, like giant titties or whatever, like, tries to fuck him. And then it turns out, oh shit, it's Freddy Krueger. And then they, like, tongue kiss. And then their tongues get combined. And then it's Freddy. And then they tie him to a bed. You know, a little... I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But, about that. But anyway, I love when he gets tied to the bed. And then, like, the bed disappears. And it's, like, hell beneath them. That's cool. I also love at the end when the kid finally speaks, he's like, no, or whatever, because his friends are getting killed. And then he's able, like, that's the first time he's able to talk throughout the whole movie. And then he, like, you know, scares Freddy away. But then Freddy comes back. And then I love the side plot with the first character from the first movie and her dad, which are the only survivors in the first movie. And both of them die in this movie. So it's like a clean cut. You take care of those, of the cast from the first movie now. And so I love when, like, him and, like, the doctor are trying to deal with, like, the Freddy remains, right? And then they have that, like, skeleton scene where the skeleton, like, I don't know how they did it, but, like, there's, like, an animated skeleton, and it looks so bad it's good. Like, it looks amazing. I love it. Like, it's so cheesy, but I love it at the same time. And then they fight the fucking skeleton or whatever, right? And then, like, the skeleton wins, and then, like, Freddy... But, like, Freddy can only be in, like, one place at once. Like, he can't terrorize the kids in the dream world and, like, become, like, a super skeleton in the real world at the same time. So he's got to switch back and forth, and then he goes back to harassing the kids. And then, like, the one bitch's dad wakes up and then, like, does so, like, some... Or, like, no, he dies. But then the professor, like, uses some holy water or whatever, and then Freddy dies again. But is Freddy really dead? I don't know, because there's, like, fucking 7 more movies in this series, so probably not. But again, I just think Dream Warriors, it explores a lot of great concepts, right? It has that kind of, like, anxiety because, like, they're all kind of trapped in a mental health facility against their will. So it's like it reduces the options that the main characters can do. It kind of forces them to be in certain kind of environments. And it's just, I don't know. This is a great movie. I mean, it really is. I love the classic cheesy slasher horror movies. But this series, I just love the dream stuff. Like, it's just super cool. It's fun to think about. It's fun to watch. And that poster looks great. I'm going to get that fucking poster on my wall. If you think you'll get out alive, you must be dreaming. But anyway, goddamn Dream Warriors. Again, going to be watching part 4 tonight. So if anyone wants to join me, it's an option. If not, go fuck yourself. And tomorrow, I'll be talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 4. But there you go. that's it. That's all I got.